Isaac Nyirimbibi once again, taking us through the series of the UNEB Chemistry Paper 1, and today we shall be looking at Section B, Part 1. So I would request when you're going through this video, you can always pause and you take some notes and you do all that you want. So let's go directly to Section B, Part 1. This is a section where we are supposed to choose only one item. There are two items, item 3 and item 3 and item 4. And the learner is supposed to select only one item from this section. And from elements of construct, we're going to first go through the element of construct of this section B part 1. It is from the learner appreciates the contribution of chemistry to our economy. And majorly part 1 of section B, a standard paper for chemistry, it is always about the industrial processes on a small scale or on a large scale. And in industrial processes, looking at the manufacture of different products. For example, some of them have been listed here, like chlorine, sodium hydroxide, cement, lime, nitrate fertilizers or nitrogen-based fertilizers, ethanol, biogas, nitrogen, oxygen, detergents, extraction of metals like iron, aluminium, copper, and then obtaining useful products from crude oil, plus others. Anything about the industrial process and manufacture of different products, it follows under section B, part 1. Now, what is it that they base on when they are assessing item 3 and item 4? So the basis of assessment is as follows. Number 1, we look at the raw materials. After reading through the scenario and you have identified that we are producing this product, then we need to identify the raw materials for producing that product. Then after that, we go to the process of production. Now, what do we need to include in the process of production? Number 1, we include, there is a score for the vessel. The vessel, we shall be looking at that as we go through the UNEB paper. Then we have the chemical process. We need to identify chemical process during this stage when we're writing the process of production. Then conversion to the desired product. We need to see in the procedures when the raw material is being converted into the desired product. So that is also a requirement. Then coherence. This is the logical flow. Are you moving from step 1 to the second step and then to the last step? That is the coherence. And then normally we need to see purification. The product we are producing, is it a pure product? So that stage for purification is also supposed to be included in our step. So those are the things that we consider during this stage of process of production. Now, after you have dealt with the process of production, then we look at side effects. Now, these side effects, we are looking at the side effects of the process of production. Most of the time, some learners mistake this one and they talk about the side effects of product. But here we are looking at the side effects of the process of production. If we are talking about producing maybe detergents, then we talk about side effects which may come about when we are producing the detergents. If it is cement, then we talk about the side effects of production of cement. And any side effect we put, we make sure that we mitigate. and we need only 1 point here, well explained and very well mitigated. And finally, the last paragraph should show us the social benefits. Now, social benefits of what? Still, we are looking at the social benefits of the production process, not of the product, but of the production process. Let's run through the UNEB paper. Now, UNEB paper item number 1, we are going to start with item 3 in part 1, section B. Section B, part 1. Let's go through the scenario now. In Uganda, copper wires are used mainly for transmitting electric power. To ensure the availability of wires, the government is considering setting up a copper production plant in certain area. However, the residents of the area need to be sensitized about the industrial processes, social benefits, side effects, and how they can be overcome. Your head teacher has been identified to sensitize the residents. Task. As a learner of chemistry, prepare a write-up that your head teacher will use to sensitize the residents. So they want us to generate a write-up which our head teacher is going to use to sensitize. Now, what is this sensitizing these people about? It has been put very well in the scenario here, where they're saying, however, the residents in the area need to be sensitized about, number 1, industrial process, social benefits, side effects, and how they can be overcome. So in this question, they are very clear to us on what they want. So the production process of what? It is of co-production of copper. Let's dive into the solution to item number 3. So item 3, as we have seen from the scenario, it is about the industrial manufacture of copper. So the first thing we identify in this area is the raw material used. When we are producing copper, what is it that we need to start with? Number 1, we need the raw material, which is copper pyrite. This is the copper ores of copper, and that is the copper pyrite. So here you get a score for identifying the raw material. Then from there, we now talk about the process of production. Now, in the process of production, we looked at the things that we need to talk about during the process of production, where we said in the process of production, we need to talk about the vessel, we need to talk about the chemical process, we need to talk about conversion to desired products, we need to talk about coherence, and also the purification. The coherence, we said, it is the logical flow. So let's start direct with the process of production. So we start the ore, which is copper pyrite, is crushed into powder and mixed with water containing special oils called frothing agent. So in this case, there is a score for identifying the raw material. There is also a score for physical process because it is being crushed into powder. There is no change in the chemical composition. So this is a physical process. So there is also a mark. In step 2, air is blown into the mixture and a froth forms. Earthy impurities in the ore are weighted with water and sink to the bottom of the flotation tank. Now, this is the vessel. It has been underlined. The vessel, the flotation tank is the vessel. So there's also a score on the flotation tank. So the vessels, the things that you're going to be using during the process of production are supposed to be included in the process of production. And then it continued that while the copper pyrite floats on the surface in the froth, then the froth is skimmed off and an acid added to it to break it. Then the ore is filtered off, dried and roasted to convert it to copper 1 sulfide, sulfur dioxide, and iron 2 oxide. So this is the chemical equation. But as a student, if your chemical equation, the symbolic equation disturbs you, please leave it out. We have already talked about it in the statement up here. So if it is a problem, the symbols are becoming a problem, then you can leave it. You can leave it out. It's not a must to include it. Then sand is then added, and as we call, sand is the chemical name of sand, silicon 4 oxide. So sand is then added and the mixture heated in absence of air to convert iron 2 oxide to iron 2 silicate liquid. Yeah, as it is elaborated here in the chemical equation. Then the ore is then heated in the controlled amount of air to produce impure copper and sulfur dioxide. So that is a chemical symbol. But as we said, if the chemical symbol is hard for you, please leave it out. This statement is enough for you to earn a score. Now, there is a copper which has been produced. They're saying here that the copper produced is then purified. We said purification process is supposed to be identified here, and we show how it is purified. So here we're talking about the purification. It is purified by electrolysis of copper 2 sulfate using this produced impure copper as the anode and pure copper as the cathode. So the impure copper anode dissolves in the electrolyte, producing copper 2 ions, which move to the cathode, where they are discharged to form pure copper. So you can write this equation at the anode, and then you can write the equation at the cathode. And that marks the end of the production process. So that is the write-up. We are continuing with the write-up that the head teacher can use when he's sensitizing the residents. Now, after the process of production, we need to have some statement, and as we have written it here, that the process of production of extraction of copper involves some side effects, which include, so the side effects, when attempting this question, the side effects, we need to identify only one, explain, and then we mitigate. It gives you all the 3 scores. But for the revision purposes today, I have come up with 2 of them. But as a learner, you can include only one, but very well explained. So you choose the side effect that you can explain very well, the one you can easily mitigate. There, you'll be able to get all the 3 scores. So my first point is air pollution. Now, there is a mark on that. This is the side effect, air pollution. So the process involves the release of sulfur dioxide, which causes air pollution, resulting into acid rains that affect plant growth. Wherever you see a bold, that is a key point and a mark. And also causes global warming. So those are some of the effects of this impact. When these ones are released into the air pollution takes place, and then it brings about, it affects the plant growth and also can bring about global warming. Now, after identifying the effect, identifying impact and how it affects, then we can mitigate. So here you're saying it can be mitigated by treatment of the gas or installing catalytic converters in the exhaust pipes. So that is a very good point which we can include. Another point, exposure to copper fumes can cause poisoning, leading to cancer. and even death. So that is the impact is poisoning. Poisoning is leading to cancer. This can be mitigated by personal protective gears, putting on personal protective gears. So there is a mark here. There is a mark on poisoning. There is a mark of leading to death. So those are the 3 scores that we need to hunt for when we are on the side effects. Lastly, we talk about the production process of copper has some social benefits. So we also need to talk about the social benefits. And for the reason of revision, I've put the 3 points, but you can include only one in your paper. Only one, but the one you know very well. Now, when you look at these industrial processes, the social benefits are almost the same. They cut across because we don't have any industry that can come up in an area and then it doesn't bring about employment opportunities. It doesn't bring about government revenue. It doesn't bring about market. So these are common things that can work on any kind of industry. So the first point, source of employment opportunity, there is a mark. Hence improved income, there is a mark. And therefore better standards of living. A very well explained point. It will give you the 3 scores. So there is a score here. There is another score there, impact. There is another score here showing the effect of the improved income. So that's how we need to frame our points so that we can get all the 3 scores. Now let's look at the second point. Increase government revenue through taxes, hence improvement. There is another mark. Now, after these infrastructures have been improved, what next? Leading to development of the society. So there is also another mark. So the 3 scores. Look at the last point. It is saying provision of market. There is a mark on provision of market. Hence generating income. There is a mark on generating income. Now when it generates income, it will lead to better lives. So there we also get the 3 scores. But as I said, we need to include only 1 point because 1 point is the one which should be marked, but it should be very well explained and you get all your 3 marks. Okay, that was item 3, and we can now go to item 4 faster. The scenario, item 4. Cement is one of the most commonly used building materials. In order to meet the high demand of cement in Uganda, many cement factories have been set up across the country, one of which is shown in figure 2. So you can see the figure. The figure is down there. You are part of the chemistry class that invited one of the factories, and the process of production cement was explained to the class. You have been invited to a radio talk show to explain how cement is produced. After your presentation, one of the callers wants to know whether there is any impact associated with the process you have talked about. Task. Make a write-up of the sensitization message up to the end of the talk. So this is a good question. They want you to make a write-up on the production of cement. But also somewhere they have indicated that someone on the radio talk show wants to know whether there is an impact. So they are giving you a hint that actually in this process, after you need to talk about also its impact. But here, as a 21st century learner, you also need to talk about that mitigation. You need to tell us how best can we mitigate that negative impact, because we need the industry in this community because of its social benefits. So at the end of it, we also need to tell us the social benefits this industry is going to bring to the community. So the answering approach of item 3 is the same as the one for item 4. They are all of part 1. So which means the way we have attempted the other one for item 3 is how we are also going to attempt this one for item 4. So as you have seen, item 4 is all about extraction of cement. Now, the first thing we do is to identify the raw materials. What are the raw materials we need when extracting cement? So we talk about the raw materials. Number 1, limestone, sand, and clay. Well mentioned. You get your scores. Then we go to process of production. Now, in the process of production, we make sure we talk about the 5 things: the vessel, chemical process, the conversion to the desired product. We talk about the coherence. We don't talk about it, but we make sure that our process is aligned from step 1 to the second step in a chronological manner. Then finally, the purification process. So let's begin faster. The process of production of cement. Limestone, you have already identified the what? The raw material. A mark is put. Limestone obtained from the quarry is mixed with the sand. We are also talking about another raw material. There is a mark. And clay. So whenever you talk about the raw material in your process, you get a mark. So there is a mark there. In the correct proportions and crushed into fine powder. This is a physical process. Crushing. We have not altered the chemical composition of any of these raw materials. So in this case, crushing these raw materials into fine powder is a physical process, and you also get a score. You get a score there. Then the powder is then mixed with water and allowed to flow down a rotating tank. Good. There is a mark here. This is what we are calling a vessel. A vessel. So the vessels should be included. Where it is strongly heated at about 1500 degrees Celsius. Limestone decomposes into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. This is a chemical equation, but as I said, don't commit yourself to symbolic equation if you don't know it. If you don't know it, you leave, because you have already talked about it here. But if you know, well and good, you become a good, excellent learner. You are exceptional. So, for you to be exceptional, you can include. But if you're not sure of which symbol, please leave it out. So after the decomposition of the calcium carbonate to calcium oxide and carbon dioxide gas, then the calcium oxide reacts with the sand. You call sand is one of the raw materials, forming calcium silicate. This is a chemical process. So you can see there is a score there. There is a chemical process. And also reacts with aluminium oxide, forming calcium aluminate. So those are the chemical equations which have been shown there. Then we can look at another line. The calcium silicate and calcium aluminate form a mixture called clinker. Then gypsum is added to clinker to modulate the setting of cement, and the lumps are then crushed by machine to obtain the fine cement powder. So in this case, we get our final product. Now there is a mark here because we talked about conversion to the desired product. So whenever you convert to the desired product, then there is also a mark. So that was our process of production of cement. Now, after after the process of production, then we can talk about the side effects. The process of production of cement has some side effects, which include, I said from beginning that these side effects, you talk about the one you know, and then you explain, and then you mitigate it, and you get all your 3 scores. Now, this is an industry for producing cement. What do you expect? Which side effects do you expect? Do you think air pollution will miss out when they are using the machines? When they are using these machines to extract and dig down there to break the stone, the limestone, which means there is some air pollution. So here we have talked about some of the points. And Alana can talk about air pollution. Now this one has talked about water pollution. You explain how the water pollution can come about, and then you tell us how you can mitigate it. So water pollution, effluent discharge from the cement plant can contaminate water body. A mark. So the first mark was here, the side effect, water pollution. We're talking about how water pollution comes about. It is a mark. But also they are going to say affecting aquatic life and the quality of water. This can be mitigated by treatment of wastewater through sedimentation and filtration before discharge. Very good. Explain the point, and you get all your 3 marks. Another point, global warming. Carbon dioxide emissions to the atmosphere can cause global warming. This can be mitigated by recycling the carbon dioxide. A very good point. You get all your scores. I gave even the 3rd point and said healthy effects that inhalation of air contaminated with cement dust causes respiratory diseases. This can be mitigated by wearing personal protective gears. A very good point. And you get all your 3 scores. Then, lastly, we talk about the production process of cement. Its social benefits. How important is it to the community? How is that process important? This point can't miss. Employment opportunities. So that's why I say a learner can never get a 0 in chemistry unless there is a problem. But a learner cannot get a 0 because in industrial processes, we don't expect any production plant, any industry to be there and doesn't hire any person. No. Which means the source of employment opportunity is a must somewhere, somehow. So these 3 marks, please, let's always grab them as early as possible. So we're saying source of employment opportunities, a mark, hence improved income, a mark, and therefore better standards of living, another mark. So those are the 3 scores that we have been talking about. But I also added other 2 points. You can see these points are the same as the ones we had up. As I said, production processes, they have almost the same points, social benefits. Otherwise, that marks the end. You can pause and then you copy those points down for your further revision. But they are the same as the ones we had for item 3. So please enjoy the beauty of chemistry. Don't forget to contact on that for any inquiries, for any resources. Just contact on that. You need some help at your school, please, you can contact that number and I'll be there to help you out. Or you can email on that email, Isaac Nyirimbibi47 at gmail.com. For those who have not yet grabbed their copies, please, these copies are there. You can just make an order and then these copies will be delivered wherever you are, so long as you put on the transport fee. The cost you can just inbox and then you get to know the cost of this practical book, and then the scenario-based questions on each from senior 1 to senior 4. They are here in remedy to chemistry. We have brought this book as a remedy so that we don't have issues of answering approaches, issues of items on different topics. They are all here in remedy to chemistry. Let's explore the minds. Otherwise, have a blessed time. Let's meet in our next session as we look at part 2 of section B. Have a blessed